Hi, I have a rather long presentation to give, so I'm going to split it into two videos. If you would like to jump ahead, I have shared this entire essay on my substack, and you can find me on that platform under the name Nate Kokernot. Now here's today's presentation. It's called Quantum Tunneling, Miracles and the Laws We Live By, A Journey into Perception and Possibility, Chapter 1. What we can all agree on is that quantum mechanics is weird. Quantum mechanics has a habit of humbling even the most confident minds. Among its most mind-bending phenomena is quantum tunneling, a process where particles break through barriers they seemingly shouldn't be able to cross. As presented in the PBS Spacetime video, Is Quantum Tunneling Faster Than Light? This phenomenon doesn't just stretch out understanding of physics, it also cracks open the door to philosophical, spiritual, and even mystical interpretations of reality. My recommendation would be to watch the PBS video before you watch this video. I shared the link to it in the More section. You may want to rewatch the video after hearing this video to see it through a different framework, that quantum mechanics is the operating algorithm for our perception of the world, rather than a description of the world's dynamics. If you have no knowledge of quantum mechanics, the PBS video will likely go over your head. In that case, don't bother watching it before, but still, watch it afterwards once you understand the framework that I'm asking you to see it through. So let's walk through that door, not to abandon science, but to deepen the conversation. Chapter 2, The Quantum Tunneler, the particle that shouldn't pass through. Imagine you're rolling a ball up a hill. If the ball doesn't have enough energy to reach the top, it rolls back down. Classical physics would say that's the end of the story. But in the quantum world, something stranger happens. If you fire a particle at a barrier, there's a non-zero chance it will appear on the other side of that barrier, even if it lacks the energy to climb over it. This is quantum tunneling. PBS spacetime goes further. What does it mean to say the particle tunneled? Was it still a particle while doing so? How long did it take? Did it somehow break the cosmic speed limit? The speed of light? Now here's where it gets weird. Scientists debate whether a tunneling particle takes any time at all to move through the barrier. In some interpretations, it appears to traverse the gap instantaneously. If true, this raises profound questions about what time and space actually are. Is the particle obeying different rules, or is our rulebook just incomplete? Chapter 3, Laws of the World and Laws Beyond. Enter A Course in Miracles, which offers a radical idea. There are two sets of laws. One is the law of space and time, what you might call the ego's laws. This is the law of mass, of energy, of cause and effect, operating in one direction, of limits and decay. These are the laws most college physics students and scientists assume to be the foundation of reality. But ACIM proposes a second set of laws, the laws of God. These are laws of timelessness, of wholeness, of love. They don't function within the constraints of space and time, but transcend them. Miracles, in this framework, are not violations of natural law. They are expressions of a higher law operating in a different dimension of understanding. They appear to violate physical law only because we are misinterpreting what physical law actually is. This is where quantum tunneling becomes more than just a technical curiosity. It becomes a metaphor, and possibly even a demonstration of how particles, or consciousness itself, can move in ways that seem impossible from within our limited framework. Chapter 4, Miracles and Measurement. Collapsing illusions. If we take Donald Hoffman's interface theory of consciousness seriously, then everything we perceive is not reality, but rather a user interface designed by evolution. In this case, particles are not little billiard balls following precise paths through time and space. Instead, they're icon symbols of something deeper, unseen, and profoundly more flexible. Now rewatch the PBS video with that lens. The particle doesn't really move from one side of the barrier to the other. It doesn't need to move, because space and time themselves may be part of the interface, not the operating system. This aligns with ACIM's teaching that what the Holy Spirit enables you to do is clearly beyond the laws of this world. When a miracle occurs, when something impossible happens, It's not a breakdown in the system, it's a glimpse of the deeper system peeking through the veil. Chapter 5. As above, so below, the Hermetic Bridge. Hermetic philosophy gives us another lens to view this through. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, invites us to see the macrocosm reflected in the microcosm. If particles can pass through barriers in mysterious ways, might the same be true for human minds, hearts, or even souls? The principle of vibration tells us that everything is in motion, and what seems solid is only stable at a certain frequency. If tunneling occurs at an energetic level invisible to our instruments, but real nonetheless, perhaps miracles occur through vibrational shifts in consciousness that move us from fear to love, another kind of tunneling through what seems impenetrable. And the principle of mentalism, that all is mind, harmonizes with Hoffman's view in ACIM's metaphysics. It proposes that reality is fundamentally mental or spiritual in nature, not material. So quantum tunneling again becomes a metaphor for the mind's capacity to leap beyond its perceived limits. Chapter 6. Is it faster than light or beyond time entirely? PBS Spacetime asks, is tunneling faster than light? The real answer might be, it doesn't even make sense to ask that question if the particle isn't moving through space in the way we imagine. It may be collapsing wave functions, changing probability clouds in a moment that doesn't happen within time but beside it or above it. From the ACIM point of view, the same is true of miracles. They don't take time, they collapse it. They move us closer to truth by skipping the in-between steps we thought were necessary. They are the reorganization of perception according to a higher law, a law that doesn't recognize delay, effort, or entropy. Chapter 7. You are the tunneling particle. Here's the invitation then. What if you are like that quantum particle? What if the walls you think you can't pass, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, even physical, aren't real barriers at all? What if this whole problem is as told by the myth of Sisyphus? And what if the myth of Sisyphus describes a man who is burdened by his limiting belief system about what is possible? What if you're simply interpreting the world through a lens that assumes separation, delay, difficulty, and limitation because you've been trained to trust and accept the ego's laws? ACIM says, you are not a body, you are free. Hermeticism says, all is mind. Quantum mechanics says, the particle may already be on the other side. What would it mean to live as if that were true? This essay isn't about rejecting physics, it's about widening the frame. Quantum tunneling, when seen from the perspective of interface theory, Hermeticism, and A Course in Miracles, becomes a living parable. A particle moving through a wall becomes a symbol of mind transcending fear, of love transcending time, of spirit expressing through the cracks in our simulation. You don't have to accept ACIM or Hermeticism to feel the pull of this idea. You just have to wonder, what if we've misunderstood what limits us? What if the deepest laws of the universe are not about restriction, but about liberation? What if the miraculous is not rare, but natural? If only we knew what nature truly was. Tomorrow, I'm going to insert a polarity into this question, and I'll just leave you with that. So join me here tomorrow for the second half. Thank you.